So, what we need is that, we can't, because, those are the dangers. And of course, to be spiritual doesn't mean to destroy hierarchies, because there are natural, necessary hierarchies. But it is the oneness. It is the oneness that is the prominent feature. As soon as the hierarchy becomes more important, guru, GVC, sannyasi, as soon as that becomes more important than the oneness, then basically we're on the material platform. So, of course, people naturally respect someone who's advanced in Krishna consciousness, but the person is advanced precisely because that person doesn't think that he or she is better. In fact, the definition of, Prabhupada's, what he always says about Paramahamsa, the highest stage of spiritual realization, a Paramahamsa sees that everyone but me is engaged in Krishna service. That actually, these people are better than me. So again, we may not all be Paramahamsas, but it's a gradual line. It's a line. So the more we advance in Krishna consciousness, the more we advance, the more we see other people as important. And it doesn't matter, what gender they are. If I'm thinking, oh, you're a woman, you're not important, then that means I'm just a fool in the bodily concept of life. Krishna actually says in the Bhagavad Gita that, he says it again and again and again, that your duty is born of your nature. Subhava jena konte, nibatak swena karmana. And Krishna says in 3:13, that's in chapter 18, again and again and again, when Krishna describes the Varna system, he keeps describing it's born of your nature. And then in 3:13 he says, Sadrasham cheshtate swasya prakrite, jnanavanapi. Even a jnanavan, even an enlightened soul, will act according to their nature. Prakritim janti bhutani, creatures follow their nature. Nigraha king karishati, what will repression do? So to deny a man or a woman service born of their nature is to become an obstacle to their spiritual life. Because as we know, we cannot control our senses, we cannot be Krishna conscious unless we engage our nature. Krishna says, it is dangerous not to serve according to your nature. So if I force someone to do another's duty, I am forcing them into spiritual danger in the name of, protecting Varnashram. If a woman has particular abilities and I deny her the opportunity to serve Krishna according to her real abilities, I am forcing her into a dangerous situation. Rather than protecting the woman, I'm actually endangering the woman in the name of protection. It's like that funny movie, Invaders from Mars, where the Martians, chasing the humans and shooting them and saying, no, we come in peace. It's like, so in the name of protecting women, one can actually ruin the spiritual life of a woman by not allowing her to serve Krishna according to her real abilities and her real nature. This is not, I'm not advocating some wild Amazon army of, Vaishnavis or something. It's like these wild, irrational fears that somehow this evil will be unleashed on the world. So again, you cannot protect a man or a woman. And the same thing for men. Prabhupada didn't come to create a society of Shudras, where one big leader thinks, whether it's a guru, I'm a guru, I'll give you my card later if you're interested, and we have very reasonable rates. Anyway, whether someone is a guru or a GVC or whatever, a sannyasi, whatever they may be, the attitude that, 30 years ago, there was one sort of notorious big leader in ISKCON, sannyasi, guru, GVC, who was no longer a sannyasi or a guru or a GVC, who used to preach in Europe, not this country, some other part of Europe, that you don't have to think. You don't have to think. I'm thinking for you. I had a temple president tell me that in the United States. I gave a class which is only like mildly intellectual. And this temple president actually told me in front of Prabhupada's Vyasasana, I don't want the devotees here thinking. I just want them to work. That's his conception of a Brahminical society. So I don't want to, I'm not attacking any individual. I'm just saying, whatever position, whether you are a husband, or whether you are a mother, or a guru, or a sannyasi, or a GBC, or temple president, no one should use their authority to lord it over other people. As we know, even in the material world, they have the idea of the servant. The head of the corporation is actually serving everyone else in the corporation. So, if we are really Krishna conscious and we're not becoming infatuated with our titles or our gender infatuation, then we want to serve everyone. We want to serve everyone. We actually see, and the more we advance, the more we see ourselves as a servant of everyone. So that's the atmosphere. That's the spiritual atmosphere we should have in our society. And actually, I was very fortunate because I caught sort of like the last days or months when ISKCON actually was like that. Before, I joined in 1969. I joined a temple in Berkeley. There were maybe about 18 devotees in the temple, half men, half women, and like the men and women, we were really like brothers and sisters. There was real affection, there was friendship, no one fell down, and it was very beautiful. And Prabhupada, actually, just last thing I'll say, then it's getting late, but for me there was a golden age in ISKCON, at least in my own mind. And it was actually, I caught the last end of it, maybe 67 to 69. Prabhupada lived in America. He traveled, but he had no intention of going back to India, actually at that time. He had no intention. And it was really a Western movement. I'm not saying Prabhupada, obviously Krishna took Prabhupada to India with spectacular results, but the point is, he was really focused on the Western world. And then Krishna took him to India, and the results are, they're amazing, what Prabhupada did there and what's still going. India is obviously in its own category, and amazing things are happening there. But still, I like to remember Prabhupada when he lived in America, focused in America, considered his movement an American movement, and in his own pranam mantra, which he wrote, Prabhupada describes himself as the savior of the Western countries. Sometimes people say, why do you say Krishna West? Why don't you say Krishna North? Why don't you say Krishna South? Obviously, extremely intelligent people ask questions like that. As if there is a northern culture. Yeah, the world's now being dominated by northern culture. What does that even mean? There's no such thing as northern culture. There's no such thing as southern culture. There is eastern culture, actually. We can talk about that in various ways. But Prabhupada in his own pranam mantra said, Paschatya Deshatarine, the savior of the Western countries. And of course, after he wrote that, India became, just an amazing success for the Hare Krishna movement. But the point is, there was a time when Prabhupada actually lived there. He knew all the devotees in the Western world practically by name. And if you look, I recommend Mukunda Goswami's book. It's an amazing, you know that book. It's an amazing book Mukunda Goswami wrote. It inspired me very much. Because you see even Prabhupada's relationship with the devotees back then, when he actually knew them personally. And he actually took the role of the spiritual master, and as far as the details of how to spread the movement and all that, he trusted his intelligent Western disciples to figure it out. Figure out how to save your country. And so, anyway, there's no time to go through the whole history of ISKCON. What happened, the sociology of ISKCON radically changed, relationship between devotees changed, relationships between men and women changed, relationships between devotees and non-devotees totally changed, and frankly, not for the better.